All right, everyone. Thank you again for joining us for today's webinar brought to you by Feedvisor and ShipStation. The topic for today is maintaining margins, how to protect your profit margins on Amazon as you scale. I'm really excited for today's presentation. This is a unique opportunity for us to talk to hundreds of Amazon sellers that are growing their business and are concerned about protecting those profit margins on Amazon. So we're going to hop right into the presentation after a few quick introductions. So the agenda for today, like I said, we're going to get started with some introductions. Then I'm going to pass the presentation over to Zane from ShipStation, who's going to be discussing logistics and automations and the different types of optimizations that you can make so you can free up more time to focus on those profit generating activities. Then I'm going to take over and discuss conquering the fees, returns, and changes you can make to your pricing strategy to protect and even grow those margins on Amazon. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up with some Q&A if we have time. I will say that you please feel free to submit your questions throughout the presentation via the Q&A app inside of GoToWebinar. We're going to try and hold those questions until the end of the presentation because we have a lot of great content to cover today. So I want to make sure we have the ability to get through everything and then turn it over to some questions. And with that, I'd like to introduce your esteemed presenters for today. My name is Andrew McGonigal. I'm on the marketing team over here at Feedvisor. I'm also joined by Zane Gamboa, who's on the partner marketing team at ShipStation. Zane, if you want to say hi to everyone.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Awesome. So with that, we're going to go ahead and give another just quick introductions to the company. So like I said, I'm here from Feedvisor. So here at Feedvisor, we're really focused on driving profit and sales growth for Amazon's top sellers. We've been exclusively in the Amazon space for several years now, and we've really found our sweet spot and differentiated ourselves in the market by focusing on the strategies and tactics and tools that are able to drive profit and sales growth for Amazon's top sellers. So how do we do that? The three main pillars of our product and really our company today are our algorithmic repricer. So this is our world-class and best-in-class really algorithmic repricer that actually has 4 separate algorithms that are customized to your business. So we develop a strategy that's completely customized based off of your business goals and tie that back into the pricing strategy. The next piece is our revenue intelligence. So this is our reporting and dashboards that are used to track the constantly changing variables in the extremely complex marketplace that is Amazon. And again, this is something that is completely customized to your business. We really focus on the variables that are going to move the needle for you specifically as an Amazon seller, allow you to track those in real time, and then take action upon it. And the last piece is our Amazon expertise. So like I said, we've been in the Amazon space for several years now, focusing on Amazon and helping Amazon sellers. And our internal team here, and really our customer success team, are the e-commerce experts that function really as a business partner for you, focusing on those KPIs that are going to help you grow as a business. So they're your partners on Amazon, and they really are incentivized to help you grow and achieve those sales and profit goals. And so with that, I'm going to just launch a quick poll for those of you who are interested in learning more about Feedvisor. So the poll should be up on the screen, and if you are interested in learning more about Feedvisor, feel free to select the first option there. Zane's going to give, if you're not sure about answering for ShipStation just yet, Zane's going to give you a quick introduction to ShipStation, then I'll launch the poll again. So just a couple of seconds here to fill out that poll if you're interested. Again, you can select either the first or third option, and I'll let that go for just a couple more seconds. All right, so we should be back on the screen, just making sure there. Okay, great. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Zane, who's going to give you guys a quick introduction to ShipStation.
So efficiency for all is one of our mottos here at ShipStation. It's really one of the main stepping stones to protecting profit as you're scaling your business. In order to accomplish this, utilizing industry-leading tools like ShipStation and Feedvisor is really crucial. One of the first things e-commerce businesses focus on is optimizing their logistics process, and accomplishing this through automation really helps eliminate errors while reducing costs at the same time. This allows you to, fulfill your promises to your customers while simultaneously building that brand experience. So here at ShipStation, we integrate with over 150 shopping carts and marketplaces. So we really do try to focus on letting you sell, wherever you sell, however you ship, be exceptionally efficient. And no matter how you do that, whether that's through direct integrations or you prefer to, upload CSVs, or maybe you're creating a manual order on the fly to, send a test product to someone. However you may do that, we help you be that efficient company. And then however you ship, we connect with over 30 carriers in 4 different countries and help you get some discounted rates in the event that you don't have your own negotiated rates. So for instance, we've got up to 40% discounts on priority mail with USPS, to 29% with FedEx, 45% with FedEx Canada, and up to 66% with DHL Express International. So we let you utilize all of those different carriers to really find, the most optimal way for you to get your products to the customers. Utilize things like batch printing, and whether or not you're fulfilling yourself or you're funneling those orders to drop ship or to 3PLs, we can help in that instance as well. And then the exceptionally efficient part, I talked about utilizing industry-leading tools. There's just a few listed there, of course, Feedvisor as well. And we like to partner with these companies to really allow you to operate your business from one platform. So have your payment, your inventory, or a company like MailChimp, all in one place, and allow you to run your business in the most efficient manner possible.
All right. So I think we're having just some slight technical difficulties with the poll system right here, Zane. So I'm going to launch that a little bit later once I get that cleaned up. But if you'd like to just go ahead and jump into your presentation, I think we can move on to that piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So I'm going to pass over the controls to you, and you should be able to navigate the presentation.
Perfect. Okay, great. So one of the newest trends that we've been seeing is incorporating a scanning workflow. There's 2 main components: scan to print, scan to view. Scan to print features optimized scan-based workflows by reducing the number of clicks that it takes to get things like weight, rate, and the label for a shipment. So if you pick, pack, and then assign shipping parameters to your order, scan to print allows you to also weigh packages and print labels in quick succession. Then you can make your workflow even more efficient without the use of keyboard commands. And then in terms of scan to view barcode is the default barcode that appears at the last element of most default packing slips. This barcode allows you to use the barcode scanner in any tab of the interface to pull up details of that order. Scan to view really speeds things up if you can scan a packing slip as part of your order fulfillment or returns management workflow. And when you scan it with your USB barcode scanner, the order details screen for the corresponding order will pop up no matter where you are on that application. With options like scan to view and scan to print, you really start saving time and decreasing those avoidable mistakes that can happen within the workflow, logistics workflow, excuse me. So for some automation rules, one of the first things we like to talk about is service mapping. It's one of the most basic levels of automation. Essentially, when an order imports with a specific service requested by your customer at checkout, you can then assign a particular service and package type based on that request. So for example, let's say a customer selects ground shipping at checkout, and this normally equates to UPS ground. Well, once mapped, UPS ground and any preferred package type, they're all assigned to orders meeting that criteria upon import, really helping you save time from going in and manually applying these types of things. The next layer is automation rules. Automation rules are essentially if-then statements. So if a certain definable criteria applies to an order, then you can have a specific action applied to that order upon importing, trumping lower levels of automation like service mapping. This allows you to take care of those scenarios in which service mappings don't really apply. So for example, let's say if ground shipping is used for all packages going to New York under 16 ounces, you can use first class USPS mail. You can then create an automation rule that takes care of that effortlessly. So, less individual orders that you have to watch out for and process manually. And this is where you get into layering automation. So there's a lot of ways you can layer automations. The hierarchy of these layers is important to keep in mind. And it's normally centered around product defaults, shipping presets, service mapping, and the automation rules. By using a combination of these tools, you can really drill down to finite levels of automation and customization, making your life a lot easier as you continue to scale and ship higher volumes. Now let's talk a bit about tags. This enables you to identify orders based on specific tags. They can indicate special situations for your shipping crew to help ensure that no special instructions are overlooked. You can also sort and filter and order your tags, allowing you to view only orders containing these specific ones, which helps your employees really bulk process more orders. So once you've established this, you can really begin to customize your workflow with things like criteria-based views and filters. Multi-user functionality allows you to delegate while maintaining control. So you can create multiple usernames, so multiple individuals in your organization can have their own unique access. You can assign individual usernames, passwords, emails, and permissions just to make sure that no one has overlapping responsibilities. You don't want 2 orders being sent out when there's only 1 order that's been made. The next thing I want to talk about is optimizing your customer touchpoints. So every package goes out, or most at least, with a packing slip. So really taking advantage of offering branding on there, or taking advantage of branding, really allows you to have another touch point with your customer. Surveys say that it takes about 6 touch points for a customer to really trust your brand. So any instance in which you can connect with that customer, show off your brand, really helps you, drive traffic back to your Amazon store, your website, whatever that may be. This is also a great place where you can include exclusive offers. So for instance, tying in a tag that we talked about, let's say that, any order over $150, you want to include some sort of special packing slip offering them a discount on their next order. You can tie those 2 things in. The next thing to use that I'd like to suggest is automating your customer returns. So having a customer initiated returns portal is a great way to really build that brand experience. We all know that returns are time consuming and probably one of the least favorite parts of running your business. But by utilizing your returns portal, you can save yourself a lot of time by allowing your customers to initiate their own returns. There's no need to now go out of your way and include a shipping or return label, and then go back and void that later. Additionally, you can report on exactly why things are being returned. So for instance, if things are always showing up damaged, maybe you need to look at different packaging. Or if you're getting several exchange requests, on size, maybe it's a manufacturing issue, or maybe you look at sizing your products a bit differently. So there's a number of issues that you're able to catalog and to analyze and really figure out why those returns are being made, and then cut those down so that you can keep that profit. And then one of the final things that I like to talk about is the branded e-com label. So this is actually a 5-panel pull-out label that you can utilize to offer, unique branded experiences and maybe tell a bit about your brand in there, the story, why you got started, who y'all are. It's also a great way to cross-sell, offer discounts. Maybe you offer a certain percentage discount off the next order, or it's something like, people who purchase this also like this. So it's all about creating that holistic brand experience and really driving that to your customers, making sure that they have you in the forefront of their mind when they go to make their next purchase. And now I'm going to pass it on to Andrew, and he's going to run you through a few things on his end relating to rates, margins, and some returns as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Zane. I appreciate that. Great presentation. I do have the poll cleaned up here, so I should be able to relaunch that. So I'm just going to launch this quick poll that I mentioned earlier. If you are interested in learning more about ShipStation, please feel free to select either the second or third option there. Zane did a great job of covering exactly how ShipStation is able to help Amazon sellers, and I'm sure you guys would love to learn more about ShipStation from their team. We obviously love working with them as a partner, and they've been obviously great to work with over the past few years. So I'll leave that open for just a couple of seconds, and then we'll move on right after this into the next half of the presentation. All right. Great. So with that, I'm going to move into our portion of the presentation. So understanding and leveraging fees, as much as you really can leverage fees, I suppose. All right. So fees are obviously a big point of contention for Amazon sellers. You have three buckets that we've chosen to discuss here today, and it's really the things that you need to focus on and what you should expect as a growing Amazon seller. So starting with shipping fees, this is obviously going to vary drastically depending on the fulfillment channel that you choose and your relationships in the industry and the types of products that you're selling. Having said that, there are a few things that you really need to keep top of mind when you are managing these fees. And the first, and obviously one of the biggest ones, is Amazon. So with regards to Amazon, it's extremely important to research those prep costs, as sometimes it can be cheaper if it's done through your own warehouse. It doesn't really matter how your products are fulfilled, but proper prep and packing is really going to only make adding those products to your inventory faster. And also optimizing low value items and saving on those prep charges can really make an impact on profit margins. We've actually seen a few different scenarios where customers of ours were able to add up to 2 percentage points to their total profits by managing this efficiently. And if you're also looking to shave on shipping, you can definitely consider Amazon's partnered carrier program, which allows you to reduce the cost of shipping to Amazon by up to 45%. And this may not apply to you if you have a strong relationship with your shipping partner, but for the rest of you, it's a great program that can really help lower those rates. Next is logistics. So here, this is something that we harp on a lot at Feedvisor on our customer success side. Negotiation is really key. So once you have those relationships with your shipping providers, you want to constantly manage and improve those and revisit them as much as possible or as much as reasonable to make sure that you're capturing the most value for your business, especially as you're using those services more and more as your business is growing. And next is the supplier side. So on the supplier side, there may be some cases where you're able to use your supplier to ship products directly to Amazon or the customers if the cost makes sense and you have a lot of trust in that supplier. If you do choose to leverage the supplier for handling and prep, they'll likely want to charge a handling or dropship fee. And again, we've seen cases with our customers where they found this is actually negotiable and they're able to waive those fees as long as they're willing to work with their supplier and as long as they have a good, strong relationship there. In the long run, it can end up saving a lot of time and money to get everything completed at the supplier level when possible. And again, careful and thoughtful negotiations on shipping can, in some cases, add up to another percentage point in profitability on that bottom line. So this is going to be a theme throughout my presentation. We're talking about just constantly looking for opportunities to add a percentage point here and there to that profit margin. Next is referral fees. So as I'm sure all of you are aware, as successful Amazon sellers, there's a referral fee associated with your items sold, anywhere from 6 to 45%. But what you may not be aware of is that in some cases, Amazon offers promotions where you can receive some referral fee discounts. And when this occurs, you'll receive the referral fee discount and then continue to receive it on any items sold at or below that threshold price that Amazon is using for promotion. And in some cases, Amazon will offer these referral fee discounts on products that are in high demand or new in a specific category. And this is a huge opportunity that we've seen to take advantage of these new products that you may have chosen to add to your assortment and really get a boost in profit margin as you're launching them off the ground. And in order to really optimize these referral fees, you really want to make sure that your product categorization for every single ASIN is correct, so you don't actually end up overpaying on fees. We've seen situations, in our history here that customers maybe previously had their products incorrectly categorized, and by cleaning that up, they were able to add, I believe, like a 1/4 percentage point to their overall profits. And lastly is storage. So we've touched on, if you're a regular attendee of our Feedvisor webinars, long-term storage fees is a big topic for us because it really starts to eat into that profit margin. But you really need to manage and optimize your inventory regularly, especially as your business hits that next level of scale. For example, if you have 350K in inventory sitting in an FBA fulfillment center, that's capital that can be working for you, and it can compromise your margins if it becomes stagnant. So the more that you're investing, the more that your business costs to run if it's not optimized properly. And in the spirit of focusing on these growing sellers like yourself, storage fees are a critical data point that you need to review when you're changing your strategy, especially from a product assortment perspective. If you're looking to optimize that assortment and add new products, take a second to look, or more than a second really, to look back at which products are eating up those storage fees and decide if it may be time to move on from something that's cutting into those profit margins. All right, so the next piece is proactive return management. So this is, I think, a pretty powerful story for those of you who have dealt with returns. This is just, a sample journey of what a return might look like, and just think about the costs that are associated with that. So you have the initial shipment of the supplier to the warehouse. The seller typically is bearing the responsibility of those fees. The FBA warehouse to the customer. It's not necessarily a built-in fee, but the seller is bearing that on some level. The customer to the FBA warehouse when the return is made. So the seller is bearing that cost. And the FBA warehouse back to the seller, and then from the seller to the supplier if there is some sort of product defection or problem on the supplier side. So I think this is really powerful, and it really speaks to the importance of managing that return process, because you can start to see these costs really creeping up and eating into those profit margins. So for returns, regardless of that fulfillment channel, they can really drastically cut into your profit margin. So that was just an FBA story, but the same thing applies across the board. So first thing really is to carefully select new products to add to your assortment. So you want to make sure that if you are working with a supplier, that you have a good deal of confidence that those products are going to be accurately represented in what the customer is looking for, and also setting up terms of trade with your supplier. So which is a big element that can help you manage your customer returns. So once your business is really successfully established, like most of our attendees here today, you can start to approach your supplier about negotiating for different types of discounts, and keeping returns and defective products in mind is definitely something to zero in on. With returns, the terms of trade will really come into play with your damaged and defective goods. And if the product is defective, you need to raise that issue up front with your supplier, because you shouldn't be responsible for those defects. And as you're growing, as your business is growing at scale, it's really important to closely align these terms of trade that are going to be increasingly beneficial to you as you scale. So as you're buying more products from your supplier and selling more on Amazon, make sure that the defective product kickback scales with your business. And the last section here is pricing. So this is obviously one of our favorite talking points here at Feedvisor. So this is our main, this is really our ethos here at Feedvisor, and then that comes down to setting a pricing strategy that is as granular as possible. So you want to set a pricing strategy that is, regardless of if you're a seller or you're a private label, you're developing a strategy that it goes down to the SKU-by-SKU level. So first thing here in terms of thinking about profit margin and protecting that over time is looking back at what got you here. Did you have steady profits across your entire assortment and growth over time? More than likely not. You probably followed the Pareto principle, where it's kind of like the 80-20 rule in terms of profit margins. So in that case, what SKUs are cutting into those overall profit margin? Take a look back and see if you can revisit the pricing strategy for those products. Start to minimize the loss to your profit margin that you're seeing there. For new products, how do those fit into your overall strategy? Are you launching a new set of private label products and willing to take a short-term hit? In some cases, advertising is critical to launching a new product, and you need to be aware that that might be cutting into your overall profit margin in the short term. So being able to forecast that ahead of time and know that this specific category of products is going to cut into my overall profit margin, and adjusting the pricing strategy for your other products is critical to make sure that you have enough capital at hand in the short term. And the last piece here is understanding the total cost. So with total cost, are you accounting for every single cost associated with a given SKU when you're developing your pricing strategy? We went through a lot of the different fees and costs earlier in this presentation, but make sure you're calculating all of those effectively on a SKU-by-SKU level. If you're not, then you really need to take a look back and do a historical review of your entire product assortment and understand if your expected profit margin really aligns up with reality. And if it doesn't line up with reality, you need to adjust your pricing accordingly in the immediate time frame, as well as think about that in the long term. How is that going to affect your long-term pricing strategy? And then the next piece here is, when you're thinking about a pricing strategy, are there economies of scales that you can leverage? Are there specific categories that maybe you're able to get a discounted rate from a supplier and decrease the price, your sales price on Amazon while not actually cutting into that profit margin to be able to drive some additional sales growth while also maintaining that profit margin? So with that, I know we're right at the end of our time here, so I just wanted to go through one more thing and see what type of questions that we have here for today. So if you are interested in learning more, our marketing team here at Feedvisor put together an awesome ebook that I think is a great read. So it's called 5 Avoidable Mistakes That Are Hurting Your Gross Profit Margin on Amazon. So there's a nice short link there that you're able to access the ebook from. I would definitely consider giving that a read. And again, if you're interested in learning more about Feedvisor and seeing it in action, you can schedule a personalized demo at the URL there. So i.feedvisor.com/demo. And with that, I am going to check the questions tab and see what kind of questions we have here. So just bear with me for one moment as I pull that up. Let's see here. So the first one, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning, so I apologize for that. Will a copy of this presentation be available after the webinar? Yes, this presentation is being recorded, and you will all get a copy of it in your inbox after this concludes. Let's see here. So a couple of great questions for you, Zane. I'm going to pass these over to you. If you don't mind me just reading these out loud to you, and stop me if we need to check with somebody else. But first one here is, and I think we're getting a little bit of audio feedback in there, Zane. Can you hear me okay, Zane?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep, sounds great. So there's a couple questions here about the marketing materials and the branded packaging slips. So I'll see if I can roll these into one here. What is Amazon's policy on branded packing slips? Information that could potentially drive customers to your website as opposed to away from Amazon. And another person asked, said they didn't think that you were allowed to send marketing materials in Amazon packages.
So as far as packing slips, you can include a branded packing slip. You're not allowed to send an email though. And as far as driving it back to your website, that is frowned upon, but you can always drive back to your Amazon store itself. So you're bringing that sale back to Amazon itself.
Great. And another question for ShipStation here. What kind of inventory options does ShipStation offer? It's a bit vague, but maybe you can answer that one.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of partners that we're actually integrated with. We do have our own inventory within ShipStation. Depending upon how large your business is, it may be a bit small, bit basic for what you're looking for, but we do have a variety of partners that we integrate with. If you go to shipstation.com/partners, in the top right, you can actually filter down by some of those. So for instance, Ecom Dash, Stitch Labs, there's a few others in there. So we do have a multitude of those options available.
Great. And then I believe a question on the Feedvisor side. So what kind of pricing automation is offered, if any? So for Feedvisor, our algorithmic repricing is entirely automated. It's not a rule-based repricer. It's an algorithm that determines the optimal price point for a given product based off of the strategies that you set as a seller. So we're going to find, on a simple level, we're going to find the highest price point that we can sell your product for that meets your goals. So we're really focusing on the price point that is going to drive the highest profit margin for your given product. Let's see here. Another question for ShipStation. So does ShipStation choose the cheapest shipping option?
So we actually let you choose the shipping options. So we integrate with all those different carriers, and we actually let you shop the rates, so to speak. So you can see the variety of services for a particular carrier, and then go to, click on another tab and look at, say, UPS, and then see what those look like. Find the best option for you for whatever that time frame is for your delivery.
Great. And with that, we're 5 minutes over time, and I believe the remaining questions were pretty specific. So I have your names here, so I'll be sure to follow up individually with the answers to those questions. But with that, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Zane for joining us today. He was extremely gracious with his time, and we're very lucky to have him here. So thank you, Zane, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate everyone joining, giving us a few minutes of your day to talk about how we can help you protect those profit margins.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us today. Really appreciate the time. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next time for the next Feedvisor webinar. Thanks.